There are two things that directly affect the wiring of the human brain. These are age and gender. Both change the way we think and feel. First, let's have a look at age. Using fMRI and EEG technology, we can get real-time imaging of how normal brains function at different ages. This has identified how age affects the hardwiring of the human brain. The teenage brain. Let's have a look at it. During the ages of 11 to 14, there is massive growth and development. As a consequence of this development, there is a tremendous lack of forethought or consequence for actions during these years. This is perfectly normal and it's all part of the brain's development. 18. The brain has developed a cognitive identity and formally recognised in the scientific community as an adult brain. It's also where most countries allow their citizens to legally drive a car, smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol. The peak performance of the brain physically occurs around the age of 22. Then, from our late teens through to our 60s, our brain doesn't change that much physically. Then we have our 60+ brain. These are our baby boomers, the largest generation segment in human history. They are the proverbial pig moving through a python. They are also the richest cohort in history. New learnings are replacing conventional thinking of how we communicate to this very lucrative segment. Healthcare means the new 60 is not the old 60. We have previously thought memories get worse as we age. New research suggests this simply isn't the case. We aren't more forgetful, but we are more susceptible to distractions. Distractions are detracting. Distractions can often mean that our messages aren't even making it through to the 60+ brain. Age also impacts our tip of the tongue or detail memory. This is why the 60+ brain can struggle remembering names or specific details. So, how should we communicate with this generation? Keep it simple with the over 60, not because of their perceived memory or lack of memory, because their brains are operating in a more global view, not so much in the detail. Eliminating distractions is important when communicating to the older brain. While younger brains cling to negative information as they prepare for their very uncertain futures, older brains' response to stimuli changes. Boomers are more emotionally resilient, a benefit of the older brain. They don't dwell on tiny details that may be important to younger generations like, does my boss like me? They let these little things go. They tend to accentuate the positive. Older brains are typically happier and don't let negatives intrude as much as younger cohorts. So we need to place more emphasis on pleasant emotions. Older adults generally like to feel more positive about themselves and have a more positive bias. They try to overlook the negative unless it directly impacts themselves. Interestingly, older brains tend to delete the word not and remember it as a do. Do not take this pill with juice. Do not forget the milk. Do not forget your tax returns. The brain can easily forget the term not, which turns those instructions to take pills with juice. Make it a positive message. This pill works best when taken with water. Remember the milk at the shops so we can enjoy a morning cup of tea. This generation also tends to have a broader, more global attention, wisdom and overview rather than detail and specifics. So they know the overall message, but they may fumble with the details. This is not a failing of the brain, rather a mature brain that tends to look at the big picture. But this fumbling with details can be a most frustrating brain development for older adults. The aging brain interprets messages differently, as the way it processes information can be quite different. Mnemonic triggers are a must for targeting older brains. This makes it easier for tip of the tongue recall or that detail memory. Rumors can also become facts. A false claim that is repeated enough times, the brain can file it away as true, especially with frequency. And speaking of frequency of exposure is important. The more we see, the more we believe.